that should work. All right, we're gonna start in Supta Baddha Konasana, which means that you're lying on your back and you have the soles of your feet together. And if you like, you can take your blocks, which I didn't tell you yet to get, but hopefully you have them anyway. And you can just kind of stack them under your thighs, the outsides of your thighs, so that your thighs can like relax into your blocks. And then just place one hand on your heart and place one hand on your belly. And use this moment and use these breaths that you're taking, that you're feeling, that you're bringing your awareness, your attention, your loving awareness, your loving attention to this life force that's moving through you. Allow yourself to feel yourself, this moment. What is it for you? What's been the general tone of your life over, I don't know, even the last 10 minutes? With what energy did you bring yourself to the mat? And now that you're here, is that the energy that you'd like to continue with? Or is there a better, or not better, but maybe more appropriate energy in which you'd like to enter your practice? You have the moment here to set an intention, or just to connect with your breath. We'll be here for a few rounds of breath, so allow yourself to really settle in. Continuing to cultivate the how, not the what, the how you would like to go about this practice, the how you would like to be with yourself. This is a moment of utmost honesty. This is a moment where you can listen to that inner teacher within yourself. You can give that inner voice an audience. And it comes on the whisper of your breath, on the ocean tide of your breath. Let's just take 5 more. And once you've completed your 5th breath, just allow your arms to open up to the sides like a T or like a cactus shape. And just let your body be here for a moment. And then start to bring your right knee in towards your chest. You're going to lift your foot off of the floor and you're going to reach up and catch the outside of your ankle or your foot, but let's be gentle. I'm going to go for my calf. And pull that leg down towards happy baby as you continue to relax your left knee out towards the side. Feeling a width across your sacrum, spaciousness across your back, allowing the bowl of your pelvis to feel open and receptive to the massage of your breath, to the cleansing, the gentle current of your breath coming in to create some fluidity through our hips. Allow your breath to be fluid here. Allow that to represent the movement in your body. And then start to activate your right foot a little bit. Flex your right toes towards your shin. Imagine extending your right heel up towards the ceiling. At the same time, your knee is dropping in towards your right armpit. Your right shoulder is right inside of the socket. Good, and then you're going to take your left hand to the outside of your left knee and you're going to gently lift that left knee in towards the midline so that now the sole of your foot is down. If you need to heel toe your foot over a little bit, you can. And then slowly, without really thinking about straightening your knee, just start to bring your thigh bone a little bit closer towards you. At the same time, you kind of press your shin away from you. And then notice your belt line and make sure that bowl of your pelvis is nice and even. Your right leg is pretty much still bent. You're going for gentle stretch in the belly of your hamstring. Take one more breath and then slowly cross your right ankle over your left knee. Take your arms back out to that cactus shape or the letter T. Engage your abdominals and lift your left knee towards your chest. Your left foot leaves the floor and you're just using the strength of your left leg pushing in to create that stretch. At the same time, press your right knee towards the front of the mat. And with the spaciousness across your collarbone, see if you can match it to the line between your frontal hip points. So your pelvis is aligned, your collarbones are aligned, and you're using the strength of your abdominals to create the stretch here. And then of course, if you want a little bit more, you can reach through and pull it in gently, but keep in mind your frontal hip points, keep in line the lines that you're creating. Good. And then everyone do go ahead and pull the left knee in, so you're holding onto your thigh, and then start to straighten your left leg up towards the ceiling. So you're in a figure four, yeah. You're reaching through the ball of your foot. You're reaching your heel as long as you can. And you're, one more time, bringing your awareness back to the pelvis and making sure that your pelvis isn't shifting. If you could measure the distance of your two sitting bones to the wall in front of you, they would be absolutely equidistant. And that's the mental aspect for those of you who like to still work the mind. I'm still going to ask you how you go about doing things. Good, let's take one more breath and release the left foot back down towards the floor. Place the right foot directly next to it. And again, let your knees fall out into Supta Baddha Konasana. Let your thighs really settle in. You feel like there's this openness, this ability to let energy flow through the front of the pelvis. So much we're like squeezing our abs in and stuff. Let yourself be soft here. Good, and then you slowly start to curl your left knee in towards your chest, keeping your right leg relaxing out into your block or wherever it is. Grab a hold of maybe even your left calf, maybe even up by the top of the left calf. And notice the difference on side to side. So the same thing, you guys, measure the distance of your sitting bones, your two sitting bones to the wall in front of you, and make sure they're equidistant as you create that spaciousness in your pelvis. Where can you find more softness, more ability for things to flow? If you're like a compulsive mover, can you find more stillness? Good. And then take your right hand to the outside of your right thigh and slowly start to pull that right knee in towards the midline. You can heel toe your right foot to the right a little bit if you need to. And then you're starting to stretch into your hamstring, but you're not thinking about locking your knee, right? You're thinking, can you pull your thigh bone a little closer to you at the same time you push your calf away from you? Can you find that evenness in from frontal hip point to frontal hip point and to the two sitting bones to the wall in front of you? And then start to flex your toes, like just your toes. So you're still finding this elongation through the ball of your foot. And your foot is active. The arch is active. You can feel energy. There's so much nerves in the bottom of your foot. See if you can tap into that. Good. And then slowly start to cross your left ankle over your right knee. Pause there. Take your arms out to the sides, either cactus or straight out to the sides. And then start to engage your abdominals. You can use your left left hip as resistance as you lift your right knee in towards your chest, floating your right foot off of the floor. Coming into that stretch, measuring the distance from your 2 sitting bones to the wall in front of you, and from the how straight it is from one frontal hip point to the other. So work here. If you want to take a little early extra stretch, go ahead and grab a hold of the back of your right thigh, but make sure that the left side of your pelvis isn't shrinking up into your left waist. Create awareness in the soles of your feet. Keep your breath long and fluid. You're just here to have this relationship with yourself. That's all. And then if you haven't yet grabbed your thigh, your right thigh, go ahead and do so now. Take a moment to assess the evenness of your pelvis, and then start to straighten your right leg up towards the ceiling like that figure 4. Yeah. And things may have shifted, so be honest with yourself and continue to make adjustments in a loving and kind way, or however way you'd like to shift into how you are with yourself. And you might work on flexing through that right foot, keeping your awareness. Good. And then slowly bend your right leg back down, let it go. Place your left foot next to your right. Your feet are side by side. Hopefully we are, oh, you guys still hear me okay? My screen is doing weird thing. Oh, Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Sorry guys, technology. Squeeze your low belly in and curl your knees in towards your chest. You use your abdominals to do that, and as you hug your knees in towards your chest, just feel your lower back, the tissues of your lower back stretching. Rock a little bit from side to massage those tissues. When we talk about our hips, we're talking about our lower back as well. And then imagine you can make little circles with your pelvis. Your knees will circle, but you'll feel like a circular massage right around those tender places. Yeah, and then go the other way as well. Give yourself the opportunity to feel into those tender places if you are experiencing that, without thinking there's anything wrong with that, just being in a relationship with that. What does that need from you? Good, and then go ahead and reach for the outer edges of your calves or your ankles or your feet and come into a full-on happy baby. Like you're doing a big old squat on the ceiling. Breathe into your hips, breathe into your lower back. Imagine your sacrum just getting wider. Imagine you didn't care how much space you took up across. You could spread all the way to the sides of the room. You could create all of the space for flow, for movement in the bowl of the pelvis. You're making sure that the entire tailbone is down on the floor, and think about seeing if you could just energetically reach through your inner heel. So the legs maybe start to think about straightening. We're in no way thinking of locking the knees or straightening. We're just reaching as if those inner legs could keep getting longer. You're feeling the outer hips and the inner hips opening at the same time. Good. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow that breath to stay deep and full. Good. And then use your arms, the strength of your arms to help you. Bring your legs together up towards the ceiling. Flex and point your ankles a few times. Yeah. And then hug your knees into your chest one more time. And make a choice. How do you want to go about doing things in your practice? Do you want to rock and roll up to a seat? Do you want to roll over? Do you want to take the long way? Do you want to take the short way? It's really up to you. We're going to place our blocks towards the front of our mat. When you get there is fine. And then then place your hands mindfully down on the earth. And just be aware that you're placing your hands on the earth. And then place your knees mindfully right underneath your hips. So we're bringing our attention to our hips, and we're bringing our attention to the earth. And then start to draw big circles with your hips. Just open it up. Yeah. And allow yourself to feel into any of the tender places, if there are any tender places. Allow yourself to feel into any of the sticky places, if there's any sticky places. It's like we're trying to swish all of the water through the bowl. We're trying to lubricate the entire interior of the bowl. Notice how it starts to feel after a while. How did it start off feeling? How does it feel as you continue? Circle the opposite direction. So how are you with yourself? What's that self-energy like? For me, I'm always like kind of got a little drive going on. And it's choice. You can decide that works for me, or decide that maybe sometimes it's good to soften. So just stop, come back to the center, notice how your hips are feeling. Turn your palms to face your knees. Tuck your toes under. Hover your kneecaps a ½ inch above the mat. And then start to, with your knees bent, just shift your hips up and back, keeping the knees bent. So it's kind of a big stretch into the wrist. You can always put your knees back down if you're like, woohoo, wasn't ready for that. Good, and then if you lifted your knees, go ahead and drop your knees back down. Turn your hands back around again. And extend your right leg straight back behind you. Place your toes down on the yoga mat. Be aware that you're hugging your outer left hip crease in and back. Yeah? And then float your right leg up from the inner thigh side. At the same time, draw your low belly in. Good, and then bring your right knee straight out towards the right. Keep that left hip hugging in and back. Drop the right knee down towards the left knee. And let's go through that range of motion. So inhale, extend your right leg straight back behind you. Exhale, bring your right knee out towards the side. Inhale, see if you can get longer from the inseam of your right leg. And exhale, release your right leg back down towards your left knee. Again, inhale, send your right leg straight back behind you. Exhale, bring your right knee out towards the side. You can contract through the waist, but keep your pelvis even. As you inhale, imagine getting longer and stronger in your core to hold this more externally rotated position. And as you exhale, release your right knee back in towards your left knee. Let's do one more time. Inhale, stretch it back. Awesome, you guys. Exhale, knee out towards the right. Inhale, find that length as if you could magnetize that right knee out towards the side more. And as you exhale, release it all the way down. Good. Separate your knees for a beat. Just shift your hips back. Take a child's pose. See just how much awareness you can bring to the lengthening of your sitting bones into your heels. What is your energy like in this moment? Can you surrender to this moment of rest? Or maybe it's not a moment of rest for you. Maybe it's a moment of striving and stretching, and that's cool. Whatever it is cool. Go ahead and shift yourself forward again. Set your knees up again so that they're right underneath your hips. Extend your left leg straight back behind you, toes down on the yoga mat. Take a moment to button your low belly in here. It's easy to do it when your toes are down. Hold on to it as you float your left leg up from the inner thigh side. Good. And then bring your left knee out towards the left. Keep hugging that outer right hip crease in. Your pelvis is even. Good, and release your left leg down towards your inner right knee. All right, with the breath, inhale, send your left leg straight back behind you. Keep the belly strong. As you exhale, left knee out towards the left. As you inhale, can you feel your lower back getting flatter as your knee goes out to the left more? And as you exhale, release it back down in towards the midline. Good. Inhale, stretch your legs straight back behind you. Feel that inner thigh side revolving up. As you exhale, left knee out towards the left. As you inhale, feel it getting longer, feel more strength. And as you exhale, release your left knee back in again. One more time, inhale, stretch it back behind you. Keep holding on with your low belly. As you exhale, knee out towards the left. As you inhale, feel it get a little bit longer. Good, and as you exhale, release it all the way down. Separate your knees again, shift your hips backwards. Again, child's pose. What do you want it to be? How do you want to be with yourself? And there's no right or wrong. Like, if you like how you're being with yourself, genuinely, then that's great. All right, so start to press down through the inner part of the palms. And at the same time, imagine your triceps could lift your arm bones up. So as you think about your upper arm bones lifting up, you're also pressing down through the inner part of the palm. So it's like this ribbon effect through your arms. So the arms are super active here. Press down through the inner part of the palm and the root of every finger. You feel the center of your palm like a suction cup lifting away from the floor. Shift your shoulders forward, tuck your toes under, and keep that sensation in your palms as you lift your hips up and back. Very bent knees to start. Very bent knees to start. So you keep lengthening your pelvis away from your hands. You keep lifting the pubic bone a little bit higher until that stretch moves into the belly of your hamstrings. Press your chest back towards your thighs. And then start to release your heels down. And don't worry about being overly, aggressive with pushing your heels down towards the floor. See instead if you can lift up all 10 toes instead and press the front of your thigh bones towards the back of your thigh bones. The same time your pelvis keeps lifting and lifting and lifting. Breathe. Remember that fluidity of your breath that you found in the beginning? See if you can find that sense of openness in your torso, in your belly. Good, and then on your next inhale breath, shift forward to the top of the push-up. Draw your collarbones forward, but feel them getting wider at the same time. At the same time you're trying to widen your collarbones, could you imagine squeezing a block between your forearms? Allow the low belly to support your back. As you extend, make your spine as long as you can possibly make it. Actively press your heels back against an imaginary wall behind you and firm your quadriceps at the same time. Take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Step your feet so that they are side by side. And then think about the right inner thigh as you start to float that right leg up. So you're going to keep it neutral. Good. Now turn your right toes out towards the right. Keep hugging the left hip in and allow the right knee to bend open. So you're allowing that hip to just stretch open. You're pressing down evenly into each one of your palms. So evaluate if that is truly what is happening or if there's more energy going into your left palm. Good, and then revolve your pelvis so that your pelvis is neutral again. The inner thigh of your right leg is lifting up. The left hip is hugging back. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, shift forward. Bring your right knee out towards the right tricep. So we've already worked these muscles. See if you can lift your right knee up a little bit higher. Push the floor away. Good, as you inhale, send your right leg up and back so you're neutralizing. Good, as you exhale, bring your right knee towards your left tricep. Squeeze your core. See if you can lift the right inner knee a little bit more up so you get that strong support in your right side waist. Good, inhale, send your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. And as you exhale, straight down the middle. You've evaluated what your extremes are. Come straight down the middle, push the floor away, round your upper back, and step your foot between your hands. Drop your back knee down. Uncurl your toes, walk your hands up to the top of your thigh bone, and straighten your spine up all the way. We're working on the front of the hip now, yeah? The hip flexor. So what I want you to imagine is if you had a tail, and it was hanging down between your legs and you were trying to pull that tail forward. Not so much that you tuck your tailbone under, but just enough that you start to feel a greater sense of that stretch in your hip flexor. And then float your left arm up to the ceiling, big inhale, and as you exhale, side bend towards the right. So you'll feel an exaggeration of that stretch in your hip flexor. Can you breathe into it? So like we said on Monday, you don't just go to your edge and just breathe there and just try to endure it. Go a little bit less than your edge and allow the fluidity of your breath to carry you into the pose, into the shape. Allow yourself to be curious, like Albert Einstein. You guys can correct me after class. Inhale, take both arms up, hook your thumbs together. Notice which thumb you hooked on top. Roll your triceps towards the front of the room and imagine you lifting your ribcage up out of your pelvis. Imagine you lifting so much that your back knee got a little lighter. Relax your inner upper shoulders and evaluate the energy in this moment. What are you doing? Are you fighting? Just be in this moment. You know which thumb you have on top, right? Slowly take your hands down to the floor. You can grab a block if you want. You can place your left hand on the block. Take your right fingertips behind your skull. And then think about squeezing that tiny piece of parchment paper between your inner thighs as you revolve your spine open. Yeah. You can always tuck that back toe, lift your pelvis up if you can keep your pelvis even. And then extend that right arm all the way up to the sky. And breathe across your chest. Good. Circle your right hand down. Lift your back knee up if it's not already up. And step right back into downward facing dog. And as you press your chest back towards your thighs, feel like all the energy is moving back to the backs of the legs, to the heels. Good. And then step your feet so that they are side by side. And then slowly start to lift that left leg up, keeping it absolutely neutral. Notice if you shifted your weight into one palm more than the other. Can you feel the arms doing the same thing? And then hug the right hip in as you revolve that left thigh open. Allow yourself to breathe here. Notice your two hands pressing evenly down. Can you press your chest back towards your right thigh, and can you lift your pubic bone up a little bit higher? Good, now extend your left leg straight back behind you and feel your pelvis re-neutralize. So you almost have to think about what your right hip is doing. Good, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, start to shift forward, left knee, left tricep. And when you get there, push the floor away and see if you can magnetize that left knee out to the left a little bit more. Great. Inhale, send your leg up and back. Three-legged dog coming through neutral. As you exhale, left knee, right tricep, push the floor away. Get that inner knee to magnetize up a little more. Push your hands down. Good. Inhale, leg up and back. Three-legged dog. There's a fluidity to all of this transition. Work with your breath. Exhale, shift forward. Knee down the middle. Step your foot between your hands. Drop your back knee down. Good. Walk your hands up to your left thigh. Use that. Okay, remember, we have that tail. We're pulling it forward just enough to exaggerate the sensation in the right front hip, yeah? And then float that right arm the rest of the way up. And then side bend towards the left. So focus on not going to your full distance and then just trying to endure it. See if you can find the flow. Those last degrees into the shape. Good, and then take your arm, both arms out, hook your thumbs, whichever one you didn't hook before, and start to squeeze your triceps forward. And as you reach the arms, it's like the arms are lifting the sides of the waist up. Observe just how infinite it can be, this journey. Keep going, keep feeling your ribcage lifting up off of your pelvis, and then notice your energy. Can you do that with a calm energy? Good, and then release. Bring your hands down. You can place that block underneath your right hand if you like, fingertips behind your head. And slowly start to revolve it open. So you want to think about your hips staying on that dowel so that we get the openness through the thoracic spine. You can tuck your back toes under if you so desire. Take the left arm up. Open up across your chest. Good, and then take that arm down. And if you haven't lifted your knee, lift your knee and step back into downward facing dog. I'm just feeling the sides of both hips lengthening back behind you. Breathe. Can you relax more through the inner upper shoulders? Can you feel the sides of the neck growing long? Good, and then inhale, shift forward to the top of a push-up. As you exhale, just drop your knees till they're hovering half an inch above the yoga mat. Don't change anything else. As you inhale, strengthen and straighten your legs again. As you exhale, just drop your knees down. Don't change anything else. As you inhale, straighten your legs with so much strength. Use the muscles of your legs to squeeze your legs to straight. One more time. Exhale, drop your knees down. Keep pushing the floor away. Good, and as you inhale, use the back, the glutes, everything to squeeze your legs to straight. Knees up or down. Take your slowest motion journey, belly down towards the floor. Good. When you land, take your hands out onto the floor to the sides of your mat. Fingertips slightly forward of the shoulders. Elbows try to look towards the back of the room. As you push down into your fingertips, think of squeezing your elbows backwards so the shoulder blades start to lift the front of the chest up. Reach back through your 2 feet. Press your pinky toenails down into the floor. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, allow your spine to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Let's do that one more time. Think of the elbows traveling back. Think of the fingertips pressing down as you allow your upper spine to coil its way up off of the floor. Keep the lower body rooted. As you exhale, slowly release it back down. Place your hands right underneath your elbows. Reach back through your toes. Make your legs really active. Imagine you could pull your yoga mat backwards. And again, once your hands can't pull back any further, your shoulder blades create the shape that your upper spine can lift. Keep reaching back through the legs, baby cobra. Good. As you exhale, roll it back down. One more baby cobra if you're ready for it, upward facing dog. If you're taking upward facing dog, push the floor away. Let your thigh bones lift, but let your inner thighs roll up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, take it back into downward facing dog. And then walk your feet out as wide as your yoga mat. And walk your hands back towards your feet. When you get there, fold your elbows on top of one another, so clasp your opposing elbows. And do whatever you need to do here. So you might kind of bob up and down or sway side to side. You might stick out your tongue and do a lion's roar. Breathe into your lower back. Imagine that this frame that your elbows are creating are lengthening your spine, letting gravity assist. Good, and then drop your fingertips to the floor. Turn your toes out 45 degrees. Bend your knees, come down into a deep squat. Good, bring your palms together. And as you press your palms together, see if you can lift the center of the sternum up into the top of the sternum. Good. Widen your collarbones. Awesome, you guys. Place your hands down. Lift the sides of your hips up. Parallel your feet again. And clasp your opposite forearm on top. And then again, what do you guys need to do? Listen to that inner teacher. You have so many choices. You have infinite choices, in fact, of what you could choose to do. Infinite. Good, and then release your fingertips to the floor. Turn your toes out 45 degrees again. And one more time, squat down. With what energy are you here? Can you be present? Lovingly present, aware, awake, responsive. Good, place the hands down, lift the sides of the hips up. Heel toe your feet till they're hip distance apart. As you inhale, reach your chest forward. Spin your inner thighs back to create that length. Good, and as you exhale, fold forward, bring your hands to your hips. And as you inhale, assist your pelvis in revolving to bring you up to the top. Take a pause, and then step to the front of your mat. So big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Allow your chest to open as you feel a support system, like a column of support through your torso. So it's not squeezing, it's just a column of support. It's working mindfully with your body. As you inhale, circle your arms, reach up towards the sky. As you exhale, hinge from your hips and fold forward. As you inhale, lift your chest. You may want to place blocks underneath your hands. Step your left foot to the back of the yoga mat. Pause here. So we're exaggerating that stretch now in the front of the left hip. Think about letting your pelvis drop down towards the floor. At the same time, think about squeezing your right heel backwards and your left toes forward. So you start to feel your pelvic floor engage and turn on. Now, can you start to lift your heart from the inside out, as if your heart was being drawn forward towards the front of the room? Breathe. You be here mindfully. Good, and then move your blocks aside. Root your palms down. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Spin your inner thighs up towards the ceiling. Shift forward a tiny bit, and as you exhale, knees up or down, lower halfway down, chaturanga. As you inhale, lift the chest, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And as you exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And on the left leg, straight back behind you. As you exhale, shift forward, curl your knee in towards your chest, step your foot between your hands. Again, you can place the blocks. And just like we did before, think about sinking your pelvis down, but squeezing the 2 feet in towards one another. As that happens, you start to feel the pelvic floor turn on, and from that engagement, you can start to lift more through your upper spine, thinking of your heart magnetizing towards the front of the room. And breathe here. Mindfulness, moving through your body. Good, and then move your blocks aside. Step your right foot forward to meet your left. As you inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, fold it and inner thighs spin towards the back wall. Inhale, circle your arms, rise all the way up. Feel the sides of your waist get long. The tailbone is long. Exhale, bend your elbows like a cactus. Lift your chest up, back bend. Good, inhale, arms back up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. Inhale, lift your chest. Grab your blocks if you'd like. Step your right foot to the back. Pause here. So it's your flow. I can say all the same things again. I could say magnetize your pelvis down, draw your feet in towards one another, feel your pelvic floor turn on, lift the chest, but find your own way. Find your own way to find spaciousness and a kind way of being with yourself in this shape. Maybe close your eyes. Maybe just enjoy the feeling of being alive, of having this effort or this stretch or however you perceive it. There's no right or wrong. Great, so we're going to move our blocks aside, root the palms down, step the left foot back to meet the right. Feel the energy of spinning both inner thighs up towards the ceiling. Shift your sternum forward, lift the low belly. Exhale, knees up or down, chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Let it unfold, let it unravel. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale the right leg straight back behind you. You keep it neutral. As you exhale, shift forward, curl your right knee in towards your chest. Step your foot between your hands. Grab your blocks if you're using them. And find your own way. Find your own breath. Find your way to be here in a zen or peaceful or still a mindful energy. Good, and then slowly move your blocks aside, step your left foot forward to meet your right. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold it in. Root to rise like you're rising a current of energy from the soles of your feet, up your legs, up through your pelvis, through your ribcage, all the way up, up, up. Keep reaching. Everything's long. Exhale, cactus the arms. Allow the heart to lean back. Good. Inhale, arms straight back up towards the sky. Exhale, sit back into chair pose. Mindfully, feel your sitting bones magnetizing back behind you. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine out of your pelvis. As you exhale, fold forward, straighten your legs. As you inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, step your feet back. Notice which foot you stepped back first. Exhale, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift your chest, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, lift your hips, up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, float your right leg straight back behind you. Keep the undersides of your arms firming into the bones. Allow your hip to revolve open as you press your left heel down. Hug your left hip in. Take an inhale. Imagine you could touch your big toe to the back of your skull. As you exhale, shift forward, right knee, right tricep. Lift through that inner knee. Good. As you inhale, send your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. As you exhale, right knee, left tricep. Lift that inner knee up, 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 then roll to the inner edge of your left foot. Kick your right foot through. Lift the hips, lift the sides of the waist, and take the left arm up to the sky. De-shrug your right shoulder blade away from your ear and elongate the right side of your neck. Bring your left hand back down. You feel that nice strong twist. Draw your right knee in towards the midline as you revolve to the ball of your left foot and step your right foot through between your hands. Take your blocks on either side of your right hand. And the same way we were in this lunge before, mindfully build it, but then start to strengthen it. So squeeze the top of the inner thighs in towards one another. And elongate through the crown of your head. As you start to get lighter on your fingertips, extend your arms out towards the sides as if you could touch the sides of the room. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, start to revolve your spine. Left arm down, right arm up to the ceiling. You have a block there if you want it. Pierce the sides of your hips with a dowel so they're even. And then take that right arm and reach way out over your ear. And as you do, feel that left inner thigh continuing to spiral up towards the ceiling. Imagine you could roll over your shoulder blades. Good, and then circle your right arm all the way back down to its block. Seal the outer edge of the left foot down, line up heel to arch alignment. And with the block that's behind your right ankle, to the outside of your right ankle, that hand is on the block, that outer right knee is pressing into your right arm. You're firming your right sitting bone underneath you. Take your left arm up to the sky. Press vigorously through the outer edge of your left foot, so much so that it feels like the inner thigh of your left leg is rising up to support the bone. Keep revolving your right rib cage down, left rib cage up. Good, and then start to engage your torso muscles, as if you could elongate the crown of your head forward until you start to get a little lighter on your right hand. And then inhale, rise up, warrior two. What is the energy that you're being with yourself in this moment? Drop your hips a little bit lower. Press into the outer edge of your left foot a little bit more. Feel the support of your pelvis. Feel the energy moving through the bowl of your pelvis as you actively open that right knee forward and press the outer edge of your left foot backward. Good. Now straighten your right leg. Press into the ball mound of your right foot. Allow your pelvis to shift backward as you lengthen your torso forward. And then take your right hand to the same block. Take your left arm, spiral it up towards the ceiling. Press your pelvis towards the long edge of your yoga mat, the side you're facing. Lean your head back towards the opposite side, the side that your back of your skull is towards. And then take your left arm and revolve your palm to face forward and reach towards the front of the room. All of that length you have on the left side, match it to your right side. So pull backwards on the block that's underneath your hand so that you can extend the right side of your waist out a little bit further. Good, and then take your top arm back up towards the sky, bend into your right knee, look forward, take your block forward. Hop your back foot in a little closer. If you need to, take a pause, a moment to draw that outer right hip crease back and float up into Ardha Chandrasana from that idea of neutrality through the inseam and the outseam of your right foot. Good. Here's where it's going to get a little challenging. Keep hugging that outer right hip in. Slowly start to bring your left leg out towards the left. It's going to be a lot of hip work. Make sure you don't collapse into your outer right hip. Keep that left leg to the height of your left hip. Good. Extend the leg back towards Ardha Chandrasana shape. Try not to collapse onto your right thigh. Slowly start to bend your right knee. Reach your left leg way back behind you. Take a long time to get there. And as you inhale, reverse that warrior. Open up through the right side of the waist. Sink down into your right thigh. Good. And as you exhale, cartwheel your hands down towards the floor. Step back, vinyasa, or not, you choose. What energy runs your practice? What energy runs your life? Breathe. Throughout our practice, there's so many moments we just need to let go. Let go of the mental, just feel. My mentor, Mia, used to always say that this is a practice that teaches us how to feel. So inhale your left leg straight back behind you. Keep hugging that right hip crease in. Bend your left knee. Let your leg drape open. Imagine you could touch your big toe to the back of your skull without collapsing into either one of your arms. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, shift forward. Left knee, left tricep. Push the floor away. Now we're moving gracefully with our breath. Inhale, send your left leg up and back behind you. Feel the neutrality as if you could pierce the sides of your hip with that dowel. Exhale, left knee, left tricep. Armpit, squeeze up, up, up. Revolve to the inner side of your right foot. Kick your left foot through. Feel the sides of the hips lift, the waist lift. Push the floor away as you support, you find the shoulder blade on your left back. Good. Now don't lose the twist you have in your lower body. Just put your right hand back down on the floor and push both hands evenly. Then bring your left knee in towards your chest as you revolve to the ball of your back foot. Good. And then step your foot between your hands. Find your blocks again. All right, so we're setting it up with strength. We're finding the drawing of the 2 feet towards one another. We're thinking of the very tops of the inner thighs, moving towards one another, and get a little lighter on those fingertips. When you're ready, extend the arms out towards the sides. Get so wide across your back, so wide across your chest. Good, take an inhale. And as you exhale, right hand goes down to the block, left arm goes up to the sky. Keep piercing the sides of your hips with that dowel. Keep squeezing that parchment paper I always talk about between your inner thighs, and then revolve your left arm, stretch that left arm out of the left side of your waist. Keep churning your torso. Breathe. So also, don't just get into the pose and just be like, when is it going to be over? I'm just going to hang out here. Like, we're mindful. We're trying to do something here. We're trying to do something beyond our ego. Good. Circle that left arm back around to the block. Seal the outer edge of your right foot down. Line up heel to arch. And take that block on the back side, the outside of your left ankle. Outer left knee presses into the left elbow. Stack the right shoulder on top of the left. Take the right arm up to the sky. All right, so what are your legs doing? Your right knee is trying to push out as your right sitting bone tries to go towards the long edge of your mat you're looking at. You're also thinking about that left sitting bone trying to reach back for the inseam of your left, like the instep of your left foot. Good, now revolve your palm to face forward and reach your right arm forward, forward, forward. Continuing to create pressure between your elbow and your knee. And continuing, roll your left side of your chest up, up, up towards the ceiling. Let your arm land over your ear. Good, and then start to engage your core here. So you're holding the length of your torso with your core until you get lighter on your left fingertips. Inhale, rise up, warrior 2. Take a moment to just establish yourself in the shape. And then think about that conveyor belt, trying to open up through the hips, trying to revolve that, lengthen that left inner thigh as the outer left thigh draws into the hip socket. Sink your hips a little lower, but anchor more into your back foot. Good. Press into the ball mound of your left foot till your leg is straight. Deepen the crease of your left hip as you elongate, elongate, elongate. And then bring your left hand down to the same block you had on before as you roll your chest open. Now there's a tendency to splay your rib cage out. So think about keeping the front of the body and the back of the body equal in length. And then can you start to think about elongating your left rib cage out of your left hips, your left pelvis. Good. Take your right arm, revolve it to face forward, and stretch it all the way out as you press more vigorously into your right foot. And then breathe it open. Allow your breath to do the work. And hopefully, in our practice, we have moments of bliss. We have moments of contentment because we're finding that sweet spot. And that's what it's about. Not about how long you do it for or how far you stretch, but that you're able to find that sweet spot. So take your right arm back up to the sky. Bend your left knee, look forward. Slide your block forward. Slide your right foot in a tad bit. Hug that outer left hip crease in. It's going to steer your left knee more to the front. Make sure you hold onto that As you lift that stirrup up the left leg to accept the weight onto your left foot. I want you to draw a vertical line from your left heel to your left sitting bone and make sure that that's not a diagonal line, veering off to the left. Draw the lowest part of your belly in. Here we go, we're going to start to bring that right leg out towards the right. Hug the left hip crease back and in. Keep your vertical line, you guys, keep that vertical line. See if you can lift the right heel to the height of the right hip. Good, and then start to send that right leg way back behind you. Again, back to Ardha Chandrasana shape. Super slow motion, start to bend your left knee, reach your right leg way back behind you. When you land, reverse your warrior. Go for it. Allow yourself to be luxurious here. And then cartwheel your hands down. Step back, vinyasa or not, you choose. Good. And then from your downward facing dog, shift forward into the top of a push-up. Lower down onto your forearms, forearm plank. Good. So think of lifting, squeezing that low belly in and up to elongate your tailbone as you at the same time press the entire distance of your forearms down to elongate your sternum forward. What's your energy right now? Can you even be content here? Nothing lasts forever. Slowly start to walk your toes in towards your elbows for dolphin pose. And see if you can bend your knees a little bit. Lift those sitting bones up and feel the architecture of your shoulders. Right? It's almost like you feel the sensation behind your shoulder blades. Then keep that sensation in your shoulder blades. You have strength in your shoulder girdle. Allow your heels to melt down. Good, and then walk it back into your forearm plank. And either walk yourself back up to the top of a push-up or get there any creative way you want to. Lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Good, inhale your right leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, bring your right knee towards your right tricep. Squeeze it up there as high as you can and step your foot to the outside of your right hand. Good, so you're gonna heel toe your right foot in towards the midline a little bit more. Drop your right shoulder down and wiggle your right shoulder underneath your thigh. Now, if that's not happening for you, just take a block and see if you can lower your right forearm to the block. If this is crazy, always know you can put that back knee down. Good, and then wherever you are with your arms, bring your arms back to neutral. Heel toe your right foot the rest of the way over to the left and find your way into single pigeon. So it might take a few rounds of breath. I'm gonna probably just stay here for a little bit and allow my hips to soften into it. I might stay upright for a moment or two before I feel like maybe taking it to a block. So take stages. Even if you don't ordinarily take stages, take stages. And observe the flow, the journey. This is like a journey with no destination. This is just a journey to explore, be curious. Good. And then start to lift your spine back up. If you have any props, just kind of move them aside. Take your left leg around to the left, swing it all the way around And when you land, cross it over your right thigh bone, yeah? And then see if you can get both sitting bones towards the floor. Inhale the right arm up towards the sky, get really long. And either hug your right knee or hook your right elbow. Reach your left fingertips behind you. Mindfully moving energy. Mindfully having this relationship with yourself. Look back towards the front. Release your leg. Shift over towards the right. Bring your left leg front, around, and back. And then lift up onto your hands and send your right leg up and back into three-legged dog. Then revolve your right thigh bone open, roll to the outer edge of your left foot, land on the ball of your right foot. Wild thing. Lift your belly towards the sky, lift your chest. Slowly revolve the right hand back down and take your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg straight back behind you as you exhale, left knee, left tricep, and step your foot to the outside of your left hand. And then heel toe your left foot in a little bit. If you can drop that shoulder underneath and then take your left arm out to the left, you try to reach your chest forward. If that's crazy, like what is she talking about? Just lower the left arm to a block. Always have that option to put the back knee down. Yeah, good. Nice, Sharon. Good, and then wherever your hands are, walk them back. Move your props aside. Heel toe your left foot the rest of the way over. So it's more challenging to get to it from that position because your shin starts off a little bit more parallel to the front edge of your mat. You can always not do that and let your shin angle a little bit more. But it's interesting, and we can be curious about what it's like if our shin is a little bit more parallel. So we want to just allow ourselves to continue to be curious. Take your time. Pick your own stages down into single pigeon. And then for me, I always have to ask myself, like, how much am I really even? Like, can I keep revolving the right inner thigh up towards the ceiling so that I don't get too heavy into my left hip, left sitting bone? Find your breath. Observe the journey. Observe how things open if you don't go to your full capacity right away. When you're ready, start to walk it back up. Shift your weight over towards your left hip. You can walk your hands to the left. Move your props out of the way. Rond de jambe your right leg around, around, around. And step your right foot to the outside of your left thigh. Good. Now take a moment. Can you get that right sitting bone to magnetize down towards the floor? If not, put something underneath there, a little towel or something. Left arm lifts up. As you lift your rib cage up out of your pelvis. Good, Mary. Revolve your spine to face the right and hug or hook your knee. Walk your right fingertips out towards the right. See if you can lift your chest more from the inside out. Imagine you had a cable on top of your head, lengthening you up towards the sky. Squeeze your belly muscles to churn your torso towards the right a little bit more. No matter how deep you go in the twist, you still need to be able to take long, deep breaths. Good. Look forward again. Unravel your twist. You can shift your hips over to the left, rond de jambe your right leg around again, and then just find your way. Pop up onto your hands. Send your left leg up and back into three-legged dog. And then roll to the outer edge of your right, land on the ball of your left. Expand expand your chest open as you elevate your hips. Imagine you had a strap, someone pulling your right hip up towards the ceiling, as if your hip was in the hammock of the strap. Good, and then slowly revolve it back down into your downward facing dog. Get as long as you possibly can in your downward facing dog. And then bend your knees and come down into a child's pose. See if you can let your body go absolutely soft. Relax your forehead into the floor or into a block. Walk your hands around so that the backs of your hands lay on the tops or the soles of your feet. And let your shoulder blades move apart from one another. Let them all spread out on your back. Good, and then place your fingertips next to your shins. Lift yourself up and sit off to one side. Send your legs around towards the front. And then take your legs out in front of you with your knees bent. Yeah? And let your inner legs turn up towards the ceiling a little bit. Yeah, make sure you have a block handy. And then we're just gonna take this like a kind of more restorative yin version. You're just gonna take a forward fold here. And you can stack up your blocks any way that you want. You can turn your palms up towards the ceiling. And you can just feel that stretch a little bit more into your hips in this position. So a lot of times they don't tell you to turn your inner thighs up towards the ceiling. If it's uncomfortable for you, go ahead and do it the normal way with your legs straight and your inner thighs revolving down. Let's see if you can surrender into this shape. If your forehead is resting on something, you can use that as a metaphor for allowing your mind to just be still circulating inside of the body, within the awareness of the body. Meaning you're not thinking about like what you're gonna make for dinner, like you're just allowing yourself to continue to feel. If this is a practice to teach us to feel, allowing yourself to continue to practice. Good, and then we're gonna slowly elongate the sternum, use your hands to help press you up and walk you back. And then extend the legs out to the sides. Lift, imagine you could lift your heels away from the floor. They might not actually lift, but it's because you're flexing your toes so much back. Yeah. And then take your block out in front of you and kind of use the block like you're doing a row. Pull your chest forward. So it's like pulling to keep your back flat. Yes, good, Sharon. Good. And then elongate through your inner legs and see what that does for your shape. Elongate through your inner legs and see what that does for your shape. Whenever you're ready, place your forehead on something. And you can do the same variation with your arms. Let's just take 5 more really slow breaths. Filling your hips in this very open shape. When you're ready, reach your chest forward, then walk your hands back in. Bend your knees, grab the outsides of your thighs, and assist your legs into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. You can grab a hold of the tops of your feet and kind of like pull on the insole, is that a word? Insole of your foot to lift your spine a little bit more. And then you can hook your elbows to the front of your shins and use all of that leverage to not go down, but to go forward. So the elbows push back, the chest Beautiful kitty. Goes forward. Close your eyes. And then eventually the upper spine can release down. The lower spine keeps trying to extend. It doesn't round. Good. And then lift your spine back up. And you choose if you'd like to take Shavasana or if you'd like to complete your practice with a seated meditation. Either one is fine. You're listening to that inner teacher. As you set yourself up, I'll give you two different scenarios. So if you're in a seated meditation, you're just trying to find the presence. Once you create alignment, then you're just allowing yourself to observe how you sit in that alert and aligned stance. So you're setting your two sitting bones up so they're pressing evenly into the floor. And then right in between your two sitting bones, equidistant, you start to draw that vertical axis of your body. And as you lift up through that vertical axis, it's as if the crown of your head is being magnetized towards the sky as your shoulder blades drop away from your ears. And you naturally feel your chest, that there's more room for expansion in your chest. There's more room for expansion into your belly. If you're taking Shavasana, you're looking for that little depth, you're looking for that complete surrender. So you're letting the tissues of your body go completely. You're letting your body rest heavy into the floor. You're letting the earth support you. You're letting the waters of your body circulate naturally, just like any waters of the earth would do. There's a sense of clarity. There's a sense of unobstructedness. Be present to any ways that you feel, as this was a practice today that was intended to give ourselves the space to feel. If you're in Shavasana, it's like the beautiful yoga angels are starting to breathe your body for you. There's a sense of vitality that's coming back from this little death. It's coming back from this utmost restoration. As you allow that breath to move through you, allow your body to slowly awaken, whether that means moving your fingers or your toes. And you'll take your own time to find your way to a seated position. If you're in a seated meditation, you're just taking a moment to align your energy, and that means your physical energy, your mental energy, your emotional energy, as you align to your spine. You're just coming into that moment of alignment with your inner self, your Dharma. Eventually, we will all meet in a seat, and bring your palms to touch. Bring your palms to touch right in front of your forehead. Rest your thumbs against your third eye. When we listen to our inner teacher, we receive insight. So just being present to whatever that insight is. Bring your hands to your heart as if you were creating a pathway or an autobahn between your head and your heart to have proper communication, so that we can feel what we feel and allow it to be our inner GPS. And then just take a moment to feel the bowl of your pelvis on the floor, to feel that support of the earth, that groundedness. And you can connect that groundedness to your head and to your heart. Finding gratitude for your journey, your self-awareness, your willingness to feel and to explore and to be curious. Slowly allow your eyes to open. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great practice, and